One Night Only was directed by Will Gluck and is about a modern society where premarital sex has been outlawed, except for one night out of the year. During this night, we meet Allie, played by Monica Barbaro, a singer who is a hopeless romantic who is looking for the right guy even on a night where everyone is just cashing out on one night stands and consequences-free irresponsibility. It's almost like the movie The Purge, except in a romantic comedy. We also meet a pizza store owner named Owen, played by Callum Truner, who has a girlfriend, but she informs him that she wants to explore sex with other people on this night. Our two mains meet several times over the course of this wild night, and rom-com shenanigans ensue. I think there's probably one rom-com per year that works for me, maybe two if lucky. This one has a very interesting premise to it. We are observing a world that has essentially turned into a fascist state with the way it controls its people, and I presume everyone in this film is okay with this? There is some great material here for some clever satire about modern dating and hookup culture. We even get a J.D. Vance-like character being interviewed on TV early in the film, and he talks about preserving family traditions and a bunch of other garbage like that. I was ready for a wickedly savage dig at all these topics, but it doesn't tackle them. It chooses to play it safe and become a slave to all the traditional points rom-coms are known for. But I will say that even though this film chickens out on its amazing premise, I still enjoyed it because of the likability of our two leads. Monica Barbaro is developing quite an interesting body of work with her last four films, not the least of which was her Oscar-nominated performance in A Complete Unknown. In One Night Only, she is sweet and charming mostly. I wasn't sold on her being the lead at the beginning of the picture. She seemed awkward for the first couple of scenes, but she eventually escapes into the role very well. She has a sunniness and girl next door vibe to her that is impossible to dislike. There's a sequence where the two lovebirds attend a party and her character is forced to sing on stage, and man, she is a great and understated singer. This is two movies now where her singing talents have been on display. I'm starting to wonder if the writers of these screenplays write scenes specifically to show off her talents. Now, this film wouldn't work if she didn't have a very good dance partner, and Callum Truner steps into that role very nicely. I thought he was the weakest link in last year's film Eternity with Elizabeth Olsen, but not because he was bad, he just wasn't allowed to be the leading man in that film. This time he is given the reins, and he pulls it off. At first he is shocked that his girlfriend would basically request a hall pass, but then he decides to put himself out on the dating circuit. He meets a bartender who is interested in him, and Allie meets someone at a bar who is interested in her, and this sets off our two leads rushing all over the city to find one condom. This is a classic rom-com setup, but done well because of the comic timing. It culminates in a sequence where they flip a coin for the condom. Well, actually, they flip the entire condom. And what happens right after that is one of the funnier scenes in the film. I actually really liked all the stuff that happens for them when they enter the store, all the way until they separate again on a pure comedy level. What I'm saying is I like the chemistry these two have, even if it is surface level, basic, and formulaic, and it's just set up to end up how we know it is going to end. Now, the premise of this film is what fails it the most. I was so excited for all of the jokes that could be made here, or even getting into some deep pathos about why people are so accepting of these fascist ideas. And that's where I was disappointed by this film. One of the characters runs past a store called AI Massage. That is a funny joke, and I would like to see how that is done for some strange reason. But that's the only kind of jokes and pokes this picture is interested in having. Monica Barbaro's roommate is a lesbian. How does this sexless world for singles affect her? Everyone has tattoo chip things on their inner wrist to dictate if they are single or married. Why did everyone agree to this procedure? How does the law find out if people are breaking this law? This picture isn't interested in answering these kinds of questions. It only wants to show people making out all over the city and getting it on wherever there is a place to get it on. Caleb Turner's mother is played by Molly Ringwald, and I was so happy to see her. She was the rom-com expert of the 1980s, and her lover is played by LeVar Burton. I was so happy and loved seeing both of them in this film, and there's some silly gags involving them in some plastic that I found hilarious. The man that Turner's girlfriend is sleeping with, I believe, was Glenn Powell. He's not in this film, but you see a picture of him, and I said, is that Glenn Powell? Also, Turner installs a dating app on his phone, and I think I saw a picture of Sydney Sweeney, which I can only assume is a callback to Anyone But You, the director's last picture. I wanted to know more about the side stuff surrounding our character ultimately. This is a great world here to explore and poke fun at, but the two main characters are locked in the confines of the romantic comedy script with no wiggle room for deep insight or savage mockery. But as I said, I still like this film overall. The world isn't compatible with the story of our two main characters, but I like the chemistry of the two leads a great deal. There's a sequence at his pizza shop that I really loved. He asks her what her favorite thing about sex is. She says the build-up. She asks him the same question. He says the aftermath. I thought that was a fabulous scene, and I was fully ready for them to get together by that point. I think the ending plays it a little too safely and has a strange message about premarital sex that may come up as sweet in the film, but I thought it was a little ridiculous after everything our characters went through. So yes, I'm slightly mixed on this film, but I do recommend it. It has two leads that are fun to watch when they are together. Some of the scenarios they find themselves in when they are together are a bit preposterous, and there are times where the plot seems to find the characters and not the other way around. But I would say that these are a bunch of small nitpicks. If you want a fun romantic comedy that makes you smile in the end, then I'm sure you will like this picture. Some of the comedic sequences go on for a tad long. This fascinating world isn't explored at all except on a surface level, and I think it takes her character a bit too long to finally warm up to his character. But I think both of the leads are severely charming. I would say you should check this out for a matinee and definitely for a stream watch. It's messy, probably like this review is, but I have to admit I enjoyed it while I was watching it, and sometimes that's all you need. I give One Night Only a marginal 3 stars. Yeah, it's two beautiful people looking for love, but you like these beautiful people and hope they find happiness. I think Easy A and Friends with Benefits are better films than this one. However, those are made by the same director, so at least he's making films he knows and is comfortable with. Take your date out and enjoy this silly light as a feather rom-com. It's a good date movie. And that is my review. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please like and subscribe. Here's links to my other videos. Follow me on social media if you like. And until next time, I am Ghost.